Hello, and ready for another video on the smiles behind the truth behind the smiles of GKR Karate. Now, just before I start, just um, a lot of what I say could be construed as bitterness, sour grapes, or even lies. Now, 2 out of 3 isn't bad. Yes, there is bitterness there. Yes, there is some sour grapes there, but I've got nothing to gain by lying. I've got nothing to gain by telling the truth. I've got absolutely zero to gain. I just want to share my experiences with you, so that anybody out there that believes that GKR Karate is the place to be is that it's all smiles and stuff. Will just know that our upbringing within the company was quite shoddy, really. I think the way that we were treated, the way we were spoken to. Now I was going to talk about Ryan Marvin today. But what I think I might do is I might tell you a story about the three amigos. So when Daniel Taylor left, Daniel Taylor back to Australia, it was him and I that were like the top two people in the UK at the time. And Carl Hughes kind of got his way in a little bit, and then so we became friends, did me and Carl. Um, to the point where he came up and stayed with us over Christmas for I think we spent 3 days just drinking bottles of champagne. So that's that. So we spent a lot of time together. We were friends. The partners were friends. And then Daniel Freer came in. He sort of joined the group, and we became the top 3 people in the central zone. Them obviously hanging on my coattails, etc. Um, and then to a point where we, uh, Dougie, go and scratch somewhere else. Go and scratch somewhere else. Don't look at me like that. Go see your mum. Go on, bugger off. So yeah, to the point where, Carl wanted to go to Sheffield for his birthday. So we did that, and young Ryan Marvin was up and coming at the time, and he kind of got inside the clique, if you like. Um, so guys share things with guys, and etc. etc. The partners were together, and they sort of hung out together, and we hung out together, and went and got drunk together, and we had lots of conversations, and so it was like the three amigos, and then the little sidekick that's worming his way in, because that's what Ryan Marvin is a worm. Um, some of the things that he did is just worm like. There was nothing up front about any of them. To a point. I can remember sat in the back garden of one of the houses that I was in, and Carl Hughes and Ryan were there. Certainly Carl Hughes, and Carl was telling me to, he believed that there should be a vote of no confidence against Bob McCracken. I'm like, whoa, hang on a minute, how do you do that? How do why do you even come up with that stuff? And then he was also telling me about, and Ryan did it as well, plan to start a club. It had been in my eyes, it had been in my head for a good few months at least, and they'd worked out how much we could earn if we started our own thing, etc. They'd elevate me to the senior person because I was at the time. Yeah, and Daniel Free, he really didn't have anything to do with it. He was more sort of pro GKR, but at the time, Ryan and Carl, behind what I know now, they were just playing a game. I was fecking played, man. Because because I thought those two wanted to leave, that then sparked something in my mind. It just lit the fire more for me to want to leave as well. Um, so yeah, there was a lot of backstabbing regarding Bob McCracken. People didn't trust him. The managers that he's currently still got around now, or should I say, zone directors, didn't trust him to a point. Because back then he had a major car accident. And he had a Honda 2000. And he had a major car accident. I think it was either coming out of Stoke or going back into Stoke. And his car flipped. And he showed us some pictures of the car. And technically, that guy should have died. Somebody was watching him that night. So um, you know, it didn't. You know, I mean, heaven forbid that he sort of would in the crash, but you know, so that messed with his head a little bit, and we could all see it. We could all see him sort of losing the plot a little bit every now and again, in regards to things that he said, things that he's going to do, things that he said he's going to do but doesn't do. It was just all so much back and forth. He was very forgetful. He had to write a lot of stuff down in a book just so they'd remember, which is fair dues. But you know, and that's where the guys decided they wanted a vote of no confidence in this man. And oh, well, no, the guy's got an head injury, and you know, you know, we just need to help him. We just need to be, you know, the team that helps him. And you know, if it means us stepping up, then we step up. But yeah, so Carl and Ryan, they did their thing, and you know, from what I can gather now, and you know, if I look back and I sort of assess it, they were just being sneaky little snakes, because of what they were scheming. Basically, what it was is that Carl's attitude, and he said this to me personally, is that if he just waits for everyone else to quit, then he'll get elevated to zone director. Well, I've got to say, congratulations, Carl. All the top guys have quit, and now you are, along with Ryan and Dan Freer, the cream of the crop. And the reason I say this is because not one of you have ever done anything successful in GKR. I mean, if you're on 1,000 attendance now, let me know. If you've ever got the accolades that I've attributed to GKR, then let me know. But I don't think you have. You know, again, Carl touched 1,000, but then again, you know, I used to touch my hair every now and again, but you know, shit changes, doesn't it? Ryan never hit 1,000. I think his biggest was probably 8-9. Daniel Freer was always on my tailcoat. I think his biggest was probably 8 or 9. They never really did anything. And with the climate these days, I very much doubt they're doing anything anyway. But I did hear that, you know, zone directors, the people that sort of manage the zones, in Australia, they're earning about $80,000, which equates to about 40k. So that's probably what the zone director earning now is 40k. Bob will be getting a little bit more, might be getting about 60, 65, 70k. So he'll be getting a little bit more because he's the UK director at this time. So they won't pay him the same as they pay the minions. Dumb, dumber, and totally fucking dumb. So yeah. The reason I say there was snaky is because they basically wanted me out so they could elevate themselves. They knew that I wasn't going anywhere. They knew that I was kind of the golden boy at the time. But what they wanted to do is they wanted to just nudge me out, particularly Ryan. Ryan was a little bitch. And he just wanted to nudge me out. We had a bit of a to-do in my time with GKR where I was doing something wrong. I was messaging a student, which turned out, you know, she was only 16. It was reciprocated. The message was reciprocated. Flirtatious here, there, and everywhere. Ryan and this girl. I won't mention the girl's name because I don't think that's fair. But you know, Ryan and Caitlin, they had a meeting with GKR Karate and Alison Figgis, and you know, basically made me out to be the bad guy. You know, because if a man of, say, I'll say that I was maybe 30 years old at the time. I wasn't. I was probably a little bit older. But if a man of 30 starts dating somebody that's 16 years old, that's perfectly fine. But if that man or woman has any authority, like control over that 16-year-old, then that's classed as grooming. Okay, now that's not something that I was doing. Okay, it was just a bit of flirtatious between the both of us. But what really sort of got my goat and what got GKR's goat is the fact that any messages this girl had sent was deleted, and it was only my thread that was left. So that's as far as I'm aware. Lo and behold, you know, I think I mentioned in my previous video that Ryan had a bit of a head injury, and he was coming up to Hull quite a lot because Hull was the only hospital that would see him. He spent a lot of time visiting my Wednesday night senior class, which is where this girl trained. He spent time staying over at her house. What he did there, I don't know, but I mean, you're not telling me that the parents are condoning a regional manager staying over at a 16-year-old's house and, all just be good fun. I don't think they'll play Monopoly. So you guys can get from that what you want. I wasn't there, so I can't comment. But, I'm going to throw out there that it turns out that when she turned 18, they actually became a couple. So you're not telling me that a young-blooded male would sort of go there for 2 years and then decide, oh, she's 18 now we'll become official. Well, what were you doing before then? So, I might have been messaging her, Ryan, but you were shagging her. That's all I'm going to say on that. So Ryan wanted me out, and the to-do that I had with, Kampai, it's acai beer, acai. So Ryan wanted me out, and it came to a point where I had to have a meeting with Bob. I think I went down to Nottingham, and I met him at service in Nottingham. And Bob was, he'd spoken to Ryan. He'd spoken to, he was having a meeting with me. Then I was on his way to Carl's because he was just sick of the bullshit. I was sick of the bullshit. I was sick of the backstabbing. I was sick of them trying to get one over on me, etc., etc. And Bob even said to me, he said, "You know what, James? I can see this now." Ryan actually said to me, "Oh, Sensei, if you want me to take over Hull, I will." That's like, well, hang on a minute. Well, James isn't going anywhere. No, but I can take over Hull if you want. Well, no, you've got a region in Birmingham, you don't need to take over Hull. So he just wanted me, out. He wanted to be moving closer to his girlfriend. And the other thing that, I was reprimanded for what I did. I mean, don't get me wrong, GKR reprimanded me for what I did. Bob came up and he told me off, and he said about the text messages and stuff, and the reprimand was basically, we were going to the shop because he wanted some cigarettes. So we're walking to the shop, which was, 2 or 3 minutes away, and he asked me how that thing was going, and I said, look, I'm really sorry, and I want to do it again, and it was kind of a, you kind of punch someone on the shoulder and say, don't effing do it again, you fool, or whatever. That was my reprimand, and it was never spoken of again. That was basically how GKR dealt with it. I wasn't strung over the calls. I wasn't on a warning. I wasn't reprimanded. I wasn't physically reprimanded. I wasn't mentally reprimanded. My reprimand was basically 2 mates. One mate's made a cock up. The other one goes, "Ha, you dickhead." That was kind of my reprimand. So yeah, that was basically, me doing what I wanted, but Bob kind of letting me get away with it by not doing anything severe. I'm not sort of blaming him. I blame myself for what I did. And this is again why part of these videos are coming out, because I just think, it's my time to own up to a lot of stuff. It's also my time to just to show that, I'm not as bad as I was. But it's also my repent, if you like. I forget the word. It's kind of me making right what I've done wrong, I suppose, but not doing it quietly. I want to do it publicly, and show people, that I am a man. I can own up to my bullshit. So yeah, and then he went to speak to Carl, and we were okay for a week or two. Things were all right. We were talking ish, but I didn't trust either of them. Did not trust them whatsoever. So that friendship was on a decline. At that point, my whole health was on a decline. It wasn't until a few, I don't know, maybe even years before then, that somebody said you need to, you got depression. I'm like, I ain't got depression. So I went to hypnotherapy and got some hypnotherapy done. And I thought, okay, I feel better now. I was lighter in myself. I was slimmer in the face, if you can believe it, because I'm looking like a bloody beetroot right now. So yeah, Carl and Ryan were sneaky little fuckers. They were very, very sneaky, to the point where Ryan would always say, James, in this game you need to watch your back. And I'm like, okay, well, what do you mean by that? And to the point where I actually collared Ryan. There was him waiting for manager's training and me in the car park. So I get out of my car and I thought, do you know what, you little bastard, I'm gonna have it out with you now. Because I knew about the meeting with head office, and he'd been smiling at me, but stabbed me in the back at the same time, So that trust was totally gone. So I went up to his car, and he did the noble thing and got out of his car, because at that point he knew he could defend himself. In his car, he couldn't defend himself. I wasn't going to hit him. I wasn't going to do anything to him. I just wanted to know what the fuck he was playing at. Why didn't he come to me first? Why he went behind my back first? Why he had to do it the way that he did? And he was like, "Hey, brother." And I'm like, "Hey, you fucking brother. I'm not your brother no more. Don't use that term with me anymore. You're a snaky little bastard." And I walked back to my car. I don't know if Bob found out. I don't really care. Nothing was said to me about it. So yeah, Ryan and I, we never really got on from that point. When we talk about cheating and talk about, going off with other women and things, Ryan was in Japan with Daniel Freer. And decided that, he was going to get back from Japan and tell his current girlfriend that he was now sleeping with someone else. So, he was sleeping with she looks a bit like a man, but she's female. So yeah, whatever. It's a bit weird looking, actually. They make a good couple. It's a bit like Lilo and Stitch, only snake and bitch. Oh well. I should see Mindy's face now. Mindy's like, but I'm just. See, the thing is the way I feel about these people. They've caused that. I'm not playing the blame game, because I'm taking onus of what I've done. I've taken onus of what I've done. I repent every single day for it. I take it and I think, do you know what? If I could just turn back the clock and change things around there. Would I want to still be with GKR? No, I'd have left differently. I'd have left a lot differently. I'd have done things a lot differently as well. I might have had the same progress that I had, and done the same things there, but a lot of the things that I did behind the scenes, I probably wouldn't have done them, but I would have left honourably, because my leaving with GKR, which I'll go into later on, I'll do that on another video, but I just want to talk about the dynamic threesome with Ryan the Snitch. So yeah, that was us three. I got booted out. We were in the top managers, I think there's maybe 8 or 9 of us in the country, and we all got selected to become the leadership group. Now, the leadership group was, you were next zone directors. So I thought, finally, we're being recognised. Not me. I'm being recognised for what I've done. For my accolades that I have achieved. But then to look at other people that were in there was Chris Briley. He did bugger all with GK. I think he might run about 4 or 5 regions, and oh yeah. And then there was Lek Prenger, Ryan Marvin, Daniel Freer, Carl Hughes. Pretty much the guys that are in the UK now. It just shows that the cream of the crop does rise to the top. It does show that. So we're part of this leadership group, and it involved, as well as the combined training, the conferences, the management meetings that we had to do, the running the region, building the team, recruit for new members, teaching senior classes. It involved more going away, and it was a once-a-month thing where we would meet up and we'd have a training session as a leadership group, and then we would have meetings afterwards, etc., etc. So that was basically the leadership group. And like I said, they were next in line to become manager. I got the first offer, and the first offer was to go to Bournemouth. So I'm debating this Bournemouth thing, and I'm debating this Bournemouth thing, and they're waiting for me. And it was a World Cup, or maybe before the World Cup, where Bob Sullivan actually told us what the leadership group contained, because we were like, all right, so what does it mean that we do? Because we knew the zone director had taken a pay cut from 90 to about 70 or 80. They're not going to pay us that straight away, but what does it mean? So Bob Sullivan told us that, the leadership group would receive £25,000 a year. Okay, well, I'm already getting that. You'll get 45% of the net profits of your region. Okay, so that's an extra 5% profit, which for a failing region, you're also receiving 45% of the loss as well. So it's a bigger loss. You had to grow a region, build your region, basically do everything that a manager does while helping other managers. So you had 2 or 3 managers underneath you that would, But the zone director, the main zone director, Bob, he'd probably always take over and, he'd have a say in things and stuff because he always wanted to know everything. So the second I heard that, again, these doubts are just kicking in and kicking in and kicking in. I decided not to go to Bournemouth. Why? Because 25 grand a year, first of all, half of that would be rent on a house. 3-bed house in Bournemouth, looking at about 1,200 quid a month. And the distance from my son. I mean, that was the main factor, was the distance from my son. I just thought, I'm not doing it, because at the time, his mother and I weren't. I'd visit, so but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing that whatsoever. Not for 25k. You want me to move, you're gonna have to pay me what was on director. So I decided to step away from the group. I emailed Stacey and I just said, "Oh, Shane, been thinking, and to get my own head straight, I think I need to step away from this group." Because right now it's not for me. I wanted more time for myself. I didn't want to be tied down to all these meetings, all these extra things they had to do, extra conformity they had to do. So I stepped out, not because of anybody, purely because, well, the main big somebody was my boy. I didn't want to sort of go anywhere and leave him, because I thought if I turn this down, then they're not going to offer it to me again. But Stacey said, no, just get your head sorted, get your head straight, and then you can always come back in. I'm like, all right, fair enough. So the idiots stayed, and they are now elevated to what we know as zone director. Don't know how much they earn, don't really care. Are they happy? Don't know. So yeah, I don't know. These guys, this is why I've got trust issues. So again, a lot of my mental state is how I was treated as a manager within GKR Karate. Not only by the zone director, but by the so-called teammates that were more than willing to put a grin on when they were looking at you, but twist the knife when your back was turned, just so that they could elevate themselves. That's not how you get somewhere. They've been elevated purely because of natural attrition. The great things drop off, the dicks grow. And that's what they've done, is the dicks have just risen. Sorry, dry mouth. Talking gives me a dry mouth. I'm only my first, so hey ho. So yeah. And then what happened was we had a black belt camp, and Sensei Andy Ward, I'll address him as Sensei for this one because he stepped down. He took some time out for whatever reason. It doesn't matter whatever reason. I know whatever reason, but he wasn't an asshole to me. He was a friend. So there's no way I'm gonna. He did nothing wrong anyway, but even if he did something wrong, I won't be stabbing the guy in the back because he was a good guy. He supported me a hell of a lot, did Andy Ward. So Bob and Stacey pulls me outside and they say, "Look, James, Andy's got to step to one side for a little while because of X, Y, and Z." I said, "Right," and they said, "We just wondered how you'd feel about sort of, running things in the Northern Zone. Just doing the management meetings, doing the training, doing the." Just sort of overseeing the Northern Zone things and, doing some reports to us." And I'm like, "Look, I'll do it. If it's going to help him out, I'll do it. Sure." And I thought, right, okay, this is me back in. I'm getting back in into the leadership group, okay? And I may get a zone shortly, okay? Back of my mind, Andy, if you're ever watching this, the back of my mind, I was hoping you wouldn't return. I was hoping that he wouldn't return and that, they'd sort of give me the Northern Zone. And you didn't return, and they didn't give me the Northern Zone. And I'll tell you why. For a few weeks, months, I put some structure there into the managers because I just made them have daily call-ins with me. I made sure the reports were in time. I just put some things in place that I'd been brought up with in the Central Zone. I'm not saying that Andy was doing it all wrong because he wasn't, but I just put some things in there that they might not have been used to. I was doing the management training from Hull to Bradford, so I was in Bradford. I was running the tournaments. That's another thing that you need to do as a manager, as a successful manager, is you run tournaments. But I'll go into that at another stage. I'll tell you what the skimming off the top with tournaments is. I might do that tonight, I don't know. So, I'm running the Northern Zone. I'm doing things. I'm doing calls and stuff. And we sat down for lunch one day. Bob came up. And he was talking about, getting a new zone director and this, that, and I thought, oh, he's gonna give it to me. No. Anthony Ryan came and stayed in the UK. I was clearly incompetent. He ran the Northern Zone. He changed things around that we really didn't like. He tried to Australianise it, which you can't do with British people. Don't make us eat Vegemite when, that's your thing, not our thing. We don't like crocodile hunting, okay? We don't put shrimps on the barbie, we put them in the oven. Or on the grill, or we buy them ready-made. So yeah, you can't Australianise the British, okay? Particularly a Brit like me. Some weak British maybe, but not me. So yeah, tried to Australianise it, and do you know what? I just thought, do you know what? I've been doing this for, I've been running my thing, running my region, juggling other regions and the zone, juggling everything else that I'm being thrown at me, and you're just going to push me to one side to let Anthony Ryan run things. Why? Because he's he's meant to be really good at karate. I don't know. So I was pushed aside a little bit, and that knocked my nose out of joint. I just stopped caring. I just totally stopped caring. In my time while this was all going on, I just stopped caring about things. I just didn't care about how I acted. How I spoke to people. It was a major trigger in drinking, and he says with a beer in his hand. But I was also, my depression also took a major hit. To a point where I just couldn't see a way out, because of everything that was on top of me and everything that I thought I was going to get, but wasn't able to. I even said to Stacey and Bob in a meeting that, just give me the Northern Zone, just give it to me. Oh well, yeah. And Stacey, Bob wanted me out. No matter what you say, Bob wanted me out, and I just think that the way these people treated me as a human being, it was just like we were brothers, and this is how you treat family. This is how you treat somebody who's. So I took a lot of pills. I drank a lot of wine one evening. I took a lot of pills, and I ended up in hospital as an overdose. I took whatever medication I had left, and I think it might have been 20 tablets or something daft like that. And yeah, it's not a nice hangover. In my time since sort of towards the back end of my GKR time, I think I tried to overdose maybe 3 or 4 times. When I say tried, I actually succeeded at overdosing, but I'm still here telling the story, so I actually failed in a way. I'm very open to mental health. I'm very open to how people have what they've done to themselves, because that stuff does need talking about. So yeah, this is an attribute. So if you guys are watching this, I'm putting some blame on you for the way that I am now, for my mental state. I'm taking ownership of it, but I'm giving you some as well because of how you were with me. You have made me the person that I am today. You contribute to that. So on one hand, I thank you, but on the other hand, it wouldn't matter to me if you disappeared tomorrow. I actually hate you for it. The hate is so deep in my gut right now. I hate you for it. But this is therapy for me, so I'm getting over it. The dreams of GKR are no longer there. I've not had one for a couple of days now, which is good. Since started this actually. So yeah, and then GKR then brought in what's known as the Blue Belt Project, which is basically every student buys a blue belt for $5, and or wristband, or I forget what else they did, and a t-shirt, and the proceeds, the profits go to Mind, which is a mental health organisation. Once that had all finished, it was probably 12 months on before I actually said to somebody, I'd left by then. It was actually probably 12 months on. I actually emailed them and said, you know what, you've raised all this money for Mind. You not once published it in any of your magazines. You not once publicly announced how much you've raised. About 38 grand was announced. How much of that went to GKR? How much of it went to the charity? I've got no idea, because Bob Sullivan didn't like the idea. Didn't like the idea of charity. He believed that charity should go back into GKR. If we do any fundraising, all fundraising was for GKR, for minibuses, coaches, Japan trips, Australia trips, whatever. So no fundraising was for any charity. He actually hates. From what my last conversation I had with somebody, he actually hates charity. He actually poo-pooed the Blue Belt Project. So yeah, they don't understand. They just don't understand where, they don't understand. To the point where the day that I was being fired, sabbatical, again, that's something else I'll go into later on. Bob even asked me to explain depression to him. It's like, well, hang on a minute. You're the UK, you're the sort of head of the UK right now. How do you not know this? You're telling us to promote this. How do you not know this? You should have done your research into this. And you should know how depression affects people. But he didn't have a clue. I even said, you shouldn't need me to tell you how it affects people. You shouldn't need that from me. So yeah, they've not got a clue. So my advice to anybody who does the Blue Belt Project with GKR is don't. You're probably better off going to Mind, so going to a mental health charity, and actually giving your money to them, or donating something, whether it be clothes, whatever it might be old toys, just donating something to them. So my advice is not to give anything to through GKR, because out of that 38 grand, that's what was published. But let's be honest, £38,000 was raised. I don't believe that for a second. Considering at the time there was probably 20 to 30,000, there was probably 25,000 students in the UK. Belts were £5, t-shirts were I think 10, and the wristband were £2.50. And it went through the roof. So I doubt it. I very much doubt that, it was probably closer to 40 plus, and GKR took a little bit off the top. But that's just me speculating. But I very much doubt. I think it was probably more than 38 grand that was raised, because they're very good at making money. So yeah, my advice, if you are watching this from GKR and they do have a Blue Belt Project, is don't donate to them. If you want to do anything, the two ways you can help mental health out is, one, you can donate to the charity directly, because the money's going to get there. You can donate something to the shop, etc. Number 2, be on call for somebody who is feeling low. You know, that's how you can help. That's how you can help some mental health, is be on call for somebody that's feeling low, or check in every now and again with somebody. Hi, how you doing? That kind of thing. Just know this. I'm going to close this video on this. Just know this, that there are a lot of people that I've come across in my time, hundreds and hundreds of people that I've come across within GKR, that will quite happily smile in your face, but then stab you in the back. You know, these people, buyers are liars, and these people are liars. I want you to judge for yourself. You know, again, like I say, everything I'm saying about these idiots could be sour grapes, could be lies. I even tried to tell some of the wives some home truths about Carl and Daniel Freer, which I'll probably, you know about Carl anyway, but I'll get into Daniel Freer later on. I tried to tell, the wives about them, and, they didn't believe me. So these guys have denied everything they've done. I'm now being open and honest about things that I've done, and I'll continue to do that throughout these videos. So yeah, some people I've stayed in touch with, which are good people, but the majority of people I've come across in GK are just backstabbers. They're just out for themselves. There is no family club. If there was a family club, why did Bob let his daughter go back to Australia? If it was a family club, why do these people spend more time away from their families than they do with them? If this club did have, its assets were its people, why did it not treat them a little bit better? Why did it not look at the ways they were being treated and treat them a little bit better? Instead of saying to somebody, James, you're not performing too well right now, we're going to cut your pay in half. That's another story. So that's 3 stories that I need to go back through this video and tell you the stories that I'm gonna go through. So yeah, my advice to anybody is DTA, is don't trust anybody. The ones that smile the most at you, that aren't your, I only trust 2 people, 3 people. Mindy, my boy, my mum. That's it. I've got my triangle. It won't go any further than that. Okay, I might put faith in people, but trust is a different thing altogether. So look, I'm going to leave you on that. Yeah, tune in for the next video. I'm only getting warmed up, guys. I'm just getting warmed up. So yeah, there's more stories to tell. Yeah, thanks for watching. Give it a like. I should be pointing down there. Give it a like. I think that's there somewhere. Give it a subscribe. No, the like's there. The subscribe's there. The comments for Facebook are going to be right underneath, and the YouTube comments are also underneath as well. So leave comments, leave other things as well. So if you dislike it, dislike it. If you want to inbox me or email me, feel free to do so. I'll quite happily reply to emails or inboxes. Unless of course you're blocked, then I won't reply to you, or I've got no time for you. Other than that, I love you and leave you. Thanks for watching again, and I'll see you on the next video.